Just have a quick first chat with Danny. There'll be plenty to get through in the next half an hour, but Manchester City through to the playoff rounds with a 3-1 win over Bruges. Danny, apparently all the Bruges players are still checking their phones on the pitch to see whether they are through. I mean, how much of a scare did they give City tonight?
A massive scare. I think they came with a blame game. I'm just looking now, they're constantly, it's the coaches and the managers, they're constantly sort of refreshing the results, a bit like Lee with Atalanta at the moment. Lee's panicking at the moment. City probably just about deserved the win. You know, second half they came out, they were a little bit better, but they were not convincing in any way, shape or form. Bruges' game plan first half was magnificent. Played on the counter-attack, deserved to go 1-0 up. City got back into it in the second half. Just at one moment, Kovacic, ran through the middle. Aye. And the only time in the game where Bruges weren't really concentrating, didn't close him down, and he slots it home. Really good finish. And then suddenly they're up against it. City get the second one and then the third, and that's done and dusted. But Etihad was nervous tonight. Very, very quiet at times. They were not convincing in any way, shape or form.
I think there's still a game or two ongoing, but we're going to start going through the full-time scores for you. We're going to bring you the final table in a moment. We're going to bring you the fixtures for who will play who, but let's start with the final scores. And what a night at Villa Park. Aston Villa 4, Celtic 2. Villa are heading through. Morgan Rogers put them 2 up inside 5 minutes with his first Champions League goals. Adam Eder then scored twice in 145 seconds for Celtic to get it all square at the break, but it was really all Villa in the second half. Ollie Watkins scored 1. Missed a penalty when he slipped and ballooned it over the bar, which would have been 4-2, but in the end, Morgan Rogers scored another, completing his first senior hat-trick, and Aston Villa are through. And because it's all over in Zagreb, they are through. I can confirm, Lee, you're all right. They're through to the last 16, Aston Villa, without the need of a playoff. Celtic will be in those two-legged playoffs next month. Elsewhere, Dortmund 3. Shakhtar 1, it won't be enough for them to progress. They need a playoff. Guirassy with a couple more goals, his 16th and 17th of the season. Bayer Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso's side, will be progressing in the top 8. They've beaten Sparta Prague by 2-0. Florian Wirtz and Nathan Teller, their goal scorers. 4 goals in Barcelona, 2-2 is how it finished. Barca, we knew, were already through. And Atalanta, well, I think they're going to just miss out by a point on the top 8, so they'll have to go into the playoffs. Bayern Munich, with Harry Kane among their scorers, beating Slovan Bratislava. They're also heading in to the playoffs, could be playing Manchester City, or Real Madrid might be in the next phase. They've won 3-0 at Brest, the new boys who will also progress into those playoffs. AC Milan were in the top 8 at the start of the night. They are not anymore. They'll need a playoff. They've lost away to Dinamo Zagreb, who have not had the best tournament, have they? Haven't won in 5 home Champions League games, had lost all 6 meetings with Milan, but they've beaten them tonight. And AC Milan will therefore have to settle for a playoff place. It looks like Zagreb, despite that win, have just missed out and will be going out. Agony for them. No problems for Arsenal. They only needed a point to guarantee their progress. They've won away to Girona. Sterling had a late penalty save, but Ethan Nwaneri, the 17-year-old, was their match winner. Inter Milan beating Monaco by 3-0. No problems for them tonight. Lautaro Martinez's hat-trick sees Inter through, so they'll be among the top 8 in the last 16. Elsewhere, Juventus beaten at home by Benfica. They are into the playoffs anyway, they'll be joined by the Portuguese side after their 2-0 win. What a win for Lille tonight. 6-1, they've thrashed Feyenoord, so they have made it into the top 8. No playoffs for Lille. Jonathan David with another goal. What a tournament he has had. Manchester City, as Danny was telling us, given such a scare by Bruges, who were beating them at the break at the Etihad. City were heading out of Europe, but they turned it round in that second half. An early goal from Kovacic helped, then an own goal and a Savinho strike make sure that Manchester City, the Premier League champions, will be in the playoffs next month. Liverpool will be in the last 16. They will be seeded after they finish top of the tree despite a late defeat in Eindhoven tonight, and they finish with 10 after their substitute was sent off, Amaro Nallo. Elsewhere, Atletico Madrid, no problems. 4 winners away to Salzburg. Griezmann with a couple. They are heading through via the top 8. Sporting 1, Bologna 1. Sturm Graz beat Leipzig, both already out. PSG were in real danger until they faced Manchester City last week and put 4 past them. They've put 4 past Stuttgart tonight with a hat-trick from Dembele. They are into the playoffs. And it finished Young Boys 0, Red Star 1, both of those already out anyway. So here is the Champions League table, though. The final round of league games are done and dusted, and we now know what is what. The gold teams on the left through to the last 16 automatically and seeded. Liverpool, top of the tree on 21 points, just one defeat in their 8 games. Barcelona, Arsenal, Inter Milan, all on 19 points, join them. So too Atletico Madrid, Leverkusen, Lille and Aston Villa, who finish in the final place. And with that win over Celtic, they are through to the last 16. They don't need those 2 extra games. Next month, the teams that do: Atalanta, Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, the holders, AC Milan, some real powerhouses of European football are doing it the hard way. PSV Eindhoven, PSG, Benfica, Monaco, Brest, the debutants will be in the playoffs. Feyenoord, Juventus, Celtic will be there. We knew that already. Manchester City making it through along with Sporting and Bruges. And the 12 teams that are now out of Europe. Remember, no backup of the Europa League in the new look format. Dinamo Zagreb, Stuttgart, Shakhtar Donetsk, Bologna, Red Star, Sturm Graz, Sparta Prague, Leipzig, Girona, Salzburg, Slovan Bratislava and Young Boys. Those 2 losing all 8 games. So let's bring you up to date then. This is the knockout phase, the playoff for the round of 16. This is what we now know. It'll be Monaco or Brest against PSG or Benfica, and the winners of those playoff ties will face either Liverpool or Barcelona. So Liverpool will be getting one of those 4: Monaco, Brest, PSG or Benfica. Sporting or Club Brugge against Atalanta or Dortmund. And the winners of that tie, or those ties, will place Lille or Aston Villa. So for Villa, it's going to be either Sporting, Bruges, Atalanta or Borussia Dortmund. Celtic, either them or Manchester City, will play either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. So for both those British teams, what a prospect. The winners of those playoff ties will play Atletico or Leverkusen in the round of 16. And then the other knockout ties, either Feyenoord or Juventus against either Milan or PSV Eindhoven. Remember, there'll be a draw for these knockout ties. Will play either Arsenal or Inter. So Arsenal's potential opponents: Feyenoord, Juventus, AC Milan or PSV Eindhoven. We'll let that sink in just for a couple of seconds. What we do, though, Danny Mills, is Manchester City's reward for scraping through to the playoffs is Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. Yeah, thanks for that.
And after that, Atletico Madrid or Leverkusen. I think, City have ended up, because of their poor form in the competition so far, they've probably ended up with one of the hardest draws. If they're going to go on and get to a final and even go and win it, they've now made it very, very difficult for themselves. So, but it's what they deserve, that they haven't played well. They got through tonight. They were a little bit better in the second half. Savinho came on the left-hand side at half-time, was a little bit more dynamic. Ran at people. Before that, Phil Foden wants to come inside. Although he's left-footed, plays on the left, he wants to come inside, play little 1-2s. Never really happened for City in the first half. Bruges were very, very good. They had a game plan, and up until half-time it worked. City hadn't had a shot on target. It was only Kovacic where he picked it up, ran from the halfway line. No one closed him down. No one sort of seemed to think he's going to shoot. He might have a shot here. He kept going, he slotted one into the corner, and then Bruges maybe panicked a little bit, got a little bit nervous. And then when they went 2-1 down, and then the manager strangely took off their front 3 players. And they were clinging on. Obviously, they finished in the final places in the end. They've got away with one. But City scraped through, simple as that. They were not at their sparkling best. They had 1 or 2 half chances, but did not create enough opportunities. Didn't have the intensity that we've seen from City, either with the ball or without the ball. And like I said, they've made it incredibly difficult for themselves now.
Real Madrid ain't going to be happy. Or
no, they're not, no.
Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, they're not going to say, oh, yeah, we got Man City. They'd be devastated with drawing Man City.
Yeah.
I know they've had a poor time. No one wants these extra games. Ideally, you want to go through in the top 8. But you haven't done it. They've got themselves out of jail. I look at it differently for City. I think a game you need to win, at home to Bruges, you go behind in the game. I think his side, and he will take massive amount of credit and he will give his team a lot of comfort, the fact that they show grit and determination to pull it out when they needed it most in the second half of that football match. And they've gone out there and they've produced a result. And they've got through 3 We never saw in the first half, Dan. You didn't see him scoring at all.
No.
But something happened. He made the changes and it worked.
When
they got the goal.
games?
Kovacic.
Because City have got injuries. They've got a massive problem at right back. Matheus Nunes cannot play right back.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be able to play right back against Vinicius Junior. You know, that is for sure, if they kept giving it... Or
Remember
even
their new signings can play in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, we saw what happened there at the weekend.
Yeah,
that wasn't great, was it? not the greatest of endorsements. But even... Or Bayern Munich, you know, it could be Sane or anybody like that. They're going to have a field day down that right-hand side. City won't keep a clean sheet, you know, in that game. That would be my worry for them. City don't have a lot of pace. You know, Doku wasn't in the squad this evening. I assume he's got an illness or an injury.
Yeah.
Even if they bring Grealish in, he's not got a huge amount of pace. They played Foden wide on the left, Bernardo Silva wide on the other side. There's no fullbacks looking at that and going, that worries me, because everything is played in front of you. And the way that City are in that midfield, which is now an ageing midfield with De Bruyne and with Gundogan, you know, in those areas, they don't have the intensity to go and press anymore. They don't have the intensity, everybody's moving. So when you get the ball as a defender or midfield player, you've got 5 or 6 options to pass to, and no one can get near you. PSG showed that last week. If you were going to press City, you can get at them. You can win the ball off them high up the pitch and cause them real problems. So I agree with Tim. Bayern and Real Madrid are going, yeah, don't really want them. But if we're ever going to play City, this is the best time to play them.
Do you really still think, Tim, and you said it earlier, that playing as they are at the moment, Manchester City can go all the way?
I think they can improve, and I think they're right there. If they get through, listen, I don't know when it is. It's a mid-Feb,
yeah.
to get the two-legged. You know, there might be a different look to them. They might sign some more players. Mamouche is a different option for him. He gives them more spark, and he does give them the pace. He does run in behind. I think they're a danger to anyone. I really believe that, and I think they prioritise the Champions League. That's the big prize out there now, and they've got the beauty of. They've got a big squad of players still, even though they're getting injuries. Hopefully they get a few back. Ruben Diaz, you know, something like that. You know, the centre-back who's commanding and dominant. Yeah. They might have to counter-attack against him both sides. You know, it'd be good to have Vincent Kompany. I think if you're going to choose, you'd rather have Bayern Munich than you would Real Madrid, because we know how they come alive in this Champions League. So Vincent Kompany to come back to the Etihad would be a great story. I still give him a chance. I wouldn't write him off at this stage. But you're absolutely right. On the evidence of what we've seen this season, you can't really give them much hope. But I give them hope because I've seen them in the past. I've seen what they can produce, and I think they're capable of producing.
You know what? Danny makes a good point.
Sorry. It's 2 weeks' time is the first leg.
Oh, wow.
That's after the FA Cup as well. So that's not a huge amount of time to get those players fit. It's not a great deal. It's not where they can go, well, actually, Ruben Diaz might be back by then. Doku might be back by then. Yeah. 2 weeks is not particularly long. And, of course, you've got a game the week after that as well, you know, sandwiched in. So he might have to sacrifice the FA Cup as well. It's difficult.
Yeah. They are still 6th favourites, Manchester City, by the way, to win the Champions League, despite scraping through tonight to the playoff rounds. We must move on and talk about Aston Villa 4, Celtic 2. What a match. Morgan Rogers with a hat-trick. Lee Hendry watched it for us. Both were guaranteed a playoff place, but as it is, Aston Villa go through automatically. In their first season in the Champions League, they're among the 8 best teams in the competition. I mean, how big a feather in the cap of Unai Emery is that?
You sound surprised, Jules. No, listen, it's a massive achievement, and it really is. I mean, the season's been, you know, up and down all the way, but, you know, just to have a brilliant start in the campaign and then a super finish and qualify is absolutely brilliant. It really, I mean, it was some game to watch. I'm not even joking yet. It was end to end. Celtic were very good. Villa were brilliant going forward. There were some brilliant passages of play. It was, honestly, it was an absolute joy to watch. It really was. And, you know, for all them Villa fans and who's related to the football club, what a moment that is. You know, and the draw that they've got, you know, is not a bad one at all, really, when you look at the other possibilities. But I mean,
not if you lose your 2 best centre forwards.
Well.
Yeah, because for anyone who wasn't watching, during the game, David Ornstein reported that a medical will take place tomorrow for John Duran ahead of a potential move to Saudi Arabia and Al Nassr. It's our understanding that Al Nassr believe they have agreed a deal to sign John Duran for just over 64 million pounds. So, and that was an hour after we'd heard that Arsenal had a bid rejected for Ollie Watkins. So
that don't happen though. Watkins don't happen. Once you lose Duran, you ain't losing Watkins. You're not losing Bob. They're going to have to spend money, and they're going to have to spend money in that short period from now till Monday.
because they can't go deep in the Champions League with one striker.
No, they can't.
No. And I don't think. Listen, it was never going to happen, was it? I don't think the Watkins. I think the Watkins thing was a tester, wasn't it, to see where it was at. And I think, like you say, you know, the John Duran thing has come to breaking news this evening, which I find absolutely crazy for a young man to burst on the scene and then disappear, because that's what will happen to him quite surely. But listen, it's all about what Villa have achieved tonight. It really is. You know, I think the performance was fantastic. Ollie Watkins was brilliant. Missed the penalty. I mean, he won't want to watch that one again. Where it was even if he had have scored it, it was a double tap. But you know, really pleased for everyone who's related to the football club. You know, John McGinn comes on. He hasn't played for quite some time. You know, he sort of gives that goal and gives Celtic a lifeline by just being too keen, but then is instrumental in one of the goals that just see Villa go and just dictate the second half, which they thoroughly deserved. I mean, like I said, it was absolutely brilliant. Villa get to keep Ollie Watkins by the looks of it, and bye-bye to John Duran. That might just see Villa's season kickstart and see Ollie was playing on it with a smile on his face.
If they lose Ollie, is a problem, though, Lee.
Yeah, there is, but
you're leaving yourself with one centre forward.
I know, but they're going to have to. They're going to have to go and bring someone in.
But
I
the
mean,
thing is,
money.
if I was the football club, OK, now they're going to sort of qualify for the Champions League. What's the best deal for them? Long term, is it best to keep Duran and let Watkins go? Because he's obviously got a lot more...
Age-wise.
Exactly, a lot more years on it. It keeps him happy. Watkins might want to go because he's thinking, well, this is my last big opportunity. Maybe getting through tonight, you know, that helps. Maybe Watkins goes, actually, I want to stay. You know, maybe for that next round of the Champions League. Because if not, he might have been thinking, well, Arsenal might be a better bet to do well in that and win something. If I'm the owners of the club, I'm thinking, actually, if I've got two offers in, I'm going to let one go. I think I'd rather let Watkins go. That's not great for Villa or great for Villa fans, but longevity and money you're going to get in, probably better to keep Duran.
Yeah, we better move on. Of course, there's lots more of this on the transfer coverage on Sky Sports News over the next few days. We'll keep an eye on John Duran and that proposed potential medical tomorrow ahead of a move to Saudi Arabia. Just to finish things off from that game at Villa Park, Celtic, then we knew they were through to the playoffs, and they have got either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. If they were to come through that, it would be Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen in the last 16. Let's just, in the time it remains, just wrap up what happened with Liverpool and Arsenal. Liverpool beaten for the first time after winning their first 7 games. Much changed team, Clinton. It's been a really positive campaign. What are the positives that Slot will take from tonight?
All the youngsters getting on the pitch, getting Champions League experience, except for young Nallo, who got sent off, where I thought the referee was too hasty getting out the red card because Kwanzaa was there. But it was a positive performance. I think a lot of the youngsters, the likes of Morton, McConnell, even young Danzig was experienced. He got kicked from pillar to post. But these are experience that you gain playing Champions League football. So, as we said, Arne Slot said this was a game, not that he's not bothered about, but he's like, you can see he's rested all of his players, but he wants to give some of the youngsters and fringe players. And I thought young Elliott came in and did well. I like him as a footballer, and I think he's an intelligent footballer. So Liverpool are the favourites.
Well, they are officially the favourites.
No, they are the favourites.
You
ask me, they are the favourites. I know they can look with the odds, but the way they're playing, they are the best team in Europe at the moment. They keep everyone fit. They are going to be a problem, Liverpool. They're playing with so much confidence. You even look at players that can come off the bench and have a big impact for them. So they keep everyone fit. I think it's Liverpool's to lose at the moment. I know their fans could be shouting at the TV, but I just think they're on such a rise at the moment, and the job Slot's done, fantastic.
Yeah. Bet Clinton and the other bookies all have Liverpool as their favourites, and they have Arsenal as their second favourites after wrapping up with a win away to Girona. Tim watched it for us. Can Arsenal win the Champions League?
Yeah, why not? You need the best players back, and Saka is one of them, and they need him back. But Wanyeri was an absolute little superstar there tonight. It was fantastic. They go behind with an ex-Tottenham player. Danjuma scores, and Neto makes a poor error. He comes rushing out. They get back in the game with a Jorginho penalty. And then Wanyeri just scores the winning goal. He just drifts in off the right-hand side, gets it into the D and just whips it past the goalkeeper. And they were very comfortable. Raheem Sterling missed the pen late on, but he was excellent all evening. So a lot of minutes for a lot of fringe players for Mikel. Job well done tonight.
At Feyenoord, Juventus, AC Milan or PSV, who do they want to avoid there?
I think they'll have anyone. I really do. I really think they believe they can beat anyone. He gives that confidence to his group of players, Mikel. So for me, I ain't got to worry about anyone in this group.